Alright guys, thanks for tuning in. So here we are at the park with FLOUREON Racer 250. I think I was calling it FLOUREON in my initial unbox, inspection, and setup, so sorry about that. It's actually FLOUREON is I think what the name is as far as what the insignia says on it here. Anyway, we're at the park here. I got the FPV here with the RTF version. Got everything mounted up, got the antennas mounted up how I wanted to, and we're gonna do just kind of a line of sight flight first. I want to kind of just put it through all of its aerobatics and stuff, and then I'm gonna slap on a run cam video camera on the front, slap on some FPV goggles, and go ahead and get a couple of different video perspectives up on this guy while I fly it through the goggles. I'll have the goggles recording, I'll have this run cam recording on top. And for this flight, we'll just be checking out the FPV and doing some acrobatics, and then we'll switch over to the goggle FPV and we'll do all that other stuff. So let's go ahead and turn this thing on. Don't forget, I will have the links in the description to this guy, as well as the first initial down below unbox, inspection, and setup video of this thing. So you can check that out, check out the current pricing and all the specs and stuff from the website, and also that initial video if you're interested. So I'm going to have the lights on for this one. I'm going to have the headlights on and the tail light, and that's just by this switch on the side here. You can switch that off and on depending if you want the lights on or off. And so I'm excited. So let's see how this thing does. I'm just using all the stock antennas it came with. So I'll go ahead and turn on the FPV screen first. Turn on the controller and plug her in. I want to go ahead, I'm going to use this little beeper here, so I want to make sure this beeper is plugged in so we know when our battery voltage is low. I'm going to plug in there, and we can see we immediately have FPV screen here. So let's go ahead and see what this thing can do. So the switch on the top here, this long one here, this is going to be our mode switch. So I'm going to have that all the way up. That's going to be self-leveling with no flips, kind of like attitude mode. And let's see how it does. So arming, the props start to spin up, and let's see what it can do. Alright, so this is a full attitude mode. So here's what we can expect for it to get back to its level. Full pitch back, full pitch forward, full pitch to the right, full pitch to the left. So it's got a pretty good angle, a sharp angle, but it just kind of gradually gets there. The return to level is very aggressive. Let's just see how fast this thing can be when we full pitch forward and full throttle. So pretty fast, that's 3S. Alright, so let's go ahead and switch out of attitude mode and go into like a horizon ratitude by switching this switch down to the middle. Now we can do some flips. So a little slower in the self-leveling. Actually, let me switch back up. I didn't get the yaw rate here. Let's see what the yaw rate's like. We're going to turn the yaw full blast. So pretty fast yaw rate. You can see those lights are nice and bright. There's our headlights and a tail light here. Nice. Okay, now I'm going to switch into ratitude or horizon mode, and let's do some flips. So I think this thing is pretty quick. I did some flips in my yard and it's fast. So right roll. Whoo! So you can see how fast that is. Super quick. So you want to be careful in this. If you're a beginner, it's very fast. But it's just as fast as you, or as much as you turn the right stick, it's going to flip. So let's do some close flips. Whoa, so you can see how fast this thing flips. Could catch yourself off guard. So you see how that was slower? I didn't have my finger all the way tilted to the right. Just had a slower tilt. Let's do a forward flip. Really easy. I really am digging the settings on this. Really nice. Let's see what the yaw rate's in this mode. About the same yaw rate. All the while I'm checking out the FPV. The FPV is nice and clear here. Let me just fly around with just the FPV for a sec. I'm going to fly across the park. Still like totally fine. You guys can hopefully see that screen. And I'm just going to come back. So no problem whatsoever across the park with the stock antennas and the FPV. Let's go back into line of sight here. And let's do some more acrobatics. So let's try some triple and double flips. So full stick to the right. Woo! That was cool. So I was holding the stick full throttle and just holding the right stick full to the right, and that's what it was doing. Forward. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh. Whoa. All right, so there's a crash for you. And let's see what's wrong with it. So it looks like we bent this propeller. And that's what you got to be careful of when you're doing acrobatics like that. It can get out of hand really fast. But just by looking at the whole thing really quickly, it looks like just this propeller is bent up. And really, that's it. The battery didn't even like slip anywhere, so that's promising. I hit the ground pretty hard. So let's go ahead and change this prop and get back out here. All right, so here at the car, and I went ahead and brought that extra bag of props that come with it in the box. So that's awesome. Just want to make sure we have the same prop. And this is the one that bent. So we just want to go ahead and take this one off. Remember, you got to have some kind of wrench to go ahead and unscrew it. I think, yeah, this is reverse thread. Well, actually not a wrench, just like a little screwdriver or something that fits in that hole, so you can at least loosen it and retighten it. So that propeller is garbage. So if you're, getting into this stuff, make sure you get a lot of spare propellers, because one little crash like that can put you out of business for a while. So if you want to keep going, you need to have extra propellers. Anyway, so let's tighten that thing up, and that's it. We're ready to go. Let's get back on the park and get this thing back in the air. Alright, so we're back at the park, and let's get back in the air with this thing. So I don't think I did a punch test, so let's go ahead and make sure we do a punch test and stuff. Alright, so we are flying. Let's go ahead and just punch it. This battery's probably about halfway spent, but let's just go ahead and punch it. So from a hover to full throttle now. And this is basically, if you pull the stick all the way down, you can see how it's still able to keep itself level, because the props are actually spinning a little bit when you're full throttle off. So you can see the light kind of dimming as I punch it. So I'm sure those lights actually are probably taking quite a bit. So I'd recommend turning those off, like in the day if you're flying FPV. Save yourself a bunch of power. Anyway, you're gonna go back into horizon or attitude and just keep flipping and stuff. This thing's really good at flipping, as you can see. Just gotta be careful of those fast and a lot of flips. There's 2 flips. Let's try maybe 3 if we can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Holy cow. So that was like 5 flips, 5 rolls. 1, 2, 3. So amazingly easy to flip this thing. You're gonna have a blast if you want to kind of learn acrobatic flying with this one. And you saw that was the maximum speed on those flips. Let's do some slower ones. You can do slower ones too, just lightly hitting the right stick roll. See that there? Watch out for the tree. And let's do a right roll. So real easy, You can go from slow to fast flips, all that stuff. That was 3 right there. Looks like our battery's starting to get weak. It's beeping when we punch it, but not too bad yet. There we go. So we're just about ready to bring it in. And you can see that tail light got really dim when the battery drops. So it's time to land. I'm just gonna land it in my hand here, and then we're gonna do throttle to the bottom left, turn off the propellers. So that was cool. So you really want to get some kind of beeper like this. This is just a really cheap, I think this is only actually a 3S beeper, but I like these because they're really small, and it should be okay. It'll just give you an idea of, actually is it a 3S? Yeah, so this is actually perfect for this battery. I was thinking this was a 4S, but this is a 3S. So, okay, cool, that was awesome. So you got to see kind of all of the performance you can expect from a 3S battery. So cool, so let's slap on the goggles. You got to see the acrobatics, and let's get this FPV going, and I'll have the FPV screen recorded. Also the run cam I'll have recorded down there, or maybe in the middle, and we'll have a few different views of how this thing's doing FPV. Alright, cool, so here we go. I got the Fat Sharks here ready to go. We'll just go ahead and plug these in. Let's go ahead and turn on our controller here and plug in, power up, and we got this run cam going, so good recording there in the high definition from the craft. Make sure we have this recording. Alright, we're ready to go. So let's go ahead and arm the motors down to the bottom right on the left stick. Let's get up and fly. Okay, so this is full self-leveling, and just gonna kind of cruise around a little bit. And this one here, just nice and easy, nice and slow. Pretty impressed with this one's stock settings out of the box. Keep in mind, this is the RTF version. This is completely out of the box. I did not touch any settings here. So basically, this is how it's going to perform out of the box. So it depends on how good of a flyer you are, but it seems really good out of the box. So that's full pitch forward. Let's go ahead and get some height here, get a little bit of scenery here before we switch into like our acro and start flying all crazy like. That's what we can kind of expect for video and stability. So, you know, I'm just going to keep it within the park, but I'm sure the range is going to be fine. Let's go ahead and drop down a little bit. So I can't do any flips in this mode because this is the attitude, self-leveling, no flips. And I'm going to flip this long stick down to the middle. And now I can do actually full-on flips and stuff. So let's go ahead and get a little bit more aggressive here. So here's a right roll. You can see how fast that is, and this is self-leveling. So it's going to fully self-level. And let's go ahead and do a backflip. Real easy with this. You just basically hold the stick, and it's going to basically go wherever you want it to go. Let's go ahead and see if we can just kind of get around here, around the fence. Do some kind of close proximity flying. Whoa, don't want to crash. As you can see, I still need FPV practice, man. You really gotta just practice and practice and practice to get better, and I just don't have the time to keep practicing. Maybe one of these days I'll go ahead and just spend a whole day and practice, but you know, slowly getting better as much as I can for the time I have. Anyway, whoa, okay, I seem to always do that in that corridor. Let's do a few more like flips and rolls. I'm gonna go a little higher. Just do some 1, 2, 3. That was like 4 or 5 rolls there. So you can do crazy stuff. You guys are probably getting sick in the video, but you know, this is the kind of stuff you can expect to do with this one. It's really easy to fly, it seems. It seems to be very responsive to what's going on with my controls. Let's try and hit this from this angle here. Now I do have the FPV camera all the way forward, so if anything, that might be a little bit of con on this one, where you can't really you know, put it up any higher than this. So you can see how I'm pointing down at the ground a lot. So I'd recommend this one for like a, you know, beginner flyer that's still trying to learn FPV and stuff. You know, just so you can take it nice and mellow, and you don't need to go super fast. You know, you can do some racing with this for sure. But you're not going to get this full-on forward pitch angle and be able to see anything. You can see how the FPV is just looking at the ground now. and I was still going relatively slow. So anyway, that's what we can kind of expect. Let's get a little bit low and tight here. There we are. Hello. Cool. So, you know, I haven't flown in a couple days, so I'm a little out of practice, a little rusty, and this is the first flight. Let's do some low and fast flying here. Oh, watch out for the people. So kind of just gonna get low, and you can see that the balancing, the transitioning between light and dark on the lens is a little bit challenging. You can see when I point it up, it's getting dark, and when I point down, it's getting light. So you're gonna have a few issues like that. Anyway, let's just keep doing. You can see how quick these flips are. There's a right, there's a left. So the rolls are super quick, you know. So you're basically, you can do slow or fast. Let's do a little bit slower one, get a little higher. Let's do a nice slow one. So you see how slow you can get. That was nice and slow. So it just depends on how hard you push your thumb or how far you push your thumb. Alright, cool. So just kind of cruising around, getting a feel for it. I have 2 batteries for this I brought. So we'll just see how we're doing here. I'm going to try really not to crash it, but if I do, I do, and we'll see some durability on it. But it's kind of hard to go really fast with this one just because this is the max FPV camera pitch. I can hear the beeping now, low battery, so I'm going to want to bring this in. Whoops. Let's come in. Okay, that's good. Disarm there. So that was a good flight. Let me go ahead and pop the other battery in just so you guys get a little bit more of a taste of what it can do now that I'm warmed up. Let's go put that other battery in and get some more aggressive flying and possibly some crashing. Okay, cool. So I got the new battery in. Let's go ahead and do a little bit more, maybe aggressive flying. Go ahead and arm the motors. Got everything recording, I believe. Let me just check that run cam. Yep, everything looks good. All right, so let's get up here, launch, and let's try to do maybe a little bit more close proximity flying, like through these trees and stuff. So you can see how really easy this one is to control and fly through trees and whatnot. See if we can make this little gap. Oh, so, oh, all right, there's a little crash into the tree. It looks like we're still okay. Let me just keep on going. And, whoa, okay. Okay, there's a little propeller chew up. It seems to be flying fine though. So little things like that. This thing's gonna be super durable and that kind of stuff. Let's go ahead and just kind of fly around here. A little bit more close proximity. You guys can kind of get a feeling of what's going on with this one. See how easy it is to fly here. I'm just like barely touching the controls and having a really easy time controlling this. So again, for like a beginner, this one's going to be really awesome. Let's fly over my car here. Whoa, let's not hit any trees. Well, if we do, I'm not worried about it. That'll give us a good, you know, get back here, go along this fence line, kind of go around the fence here. Now I'm in full stability mode, so it is a little bit more tough. So I'm going to go ahead and there. So now we're in kind of horizon mode, so I can do sharper turns and flying and flips and stuff. So let's kind of go through here with a little bit more aggression. There we go. So you can see how simple that is. Oh! Alright, there's a crash. I'm going to try to relaunch. So I just disarmed the motors, left stick to the bottom left. Now I'm going to rearm, just relaunch. And look at that. We're flying nice and smooth. I don't really see any jello, so we should be okay. Seems like it's flying fine. Let's try to see how close to this roof we can get. Nice. So you can see how simple this is. Nice and easy. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try to go through this dugout. I've never done this before, so this will be a first for me. So if I crash, you guys are going to be definitely entertained. Let's spin around and let's try to just fly through this dugout. I have no idea what's going to happen, but let's just try it. Ooh! Okay, so there's a crash test for you. So I just, I didn't realize that the fence was closed. So let me go ahead and go check it out. Bring it back and let's see what the damage is. I just disarmed to the bottom left. So let's go check out what the damage is. Okay, cool. So that was kind of fun. So let's assess the damage from that crash. I just basically brought it back over here. Didn't touch anything. And run cam's A-okay. Let's see what else. Looks like we busted the little cap here on the top. I went ahead and looked around there. I couldn't really find it. I'll go ahead and look some more, but at least we can know that we have a right-hand polarized antenna now. So apparently I chose the correct antenna on the Fat Sharks, which is a right-hand polarized antenna. And as far as the propellers go, got a little notch here, right here, and this propeller seems okay. A little notch on the back there, and really nothing else is wrong with this thing. So just busted the cap off the top of this. It just separated and flew off. So, you know, maybe glue those together to prevent that from happening. The camera didn't fly off since I have these little zip ties here. It seemed to be doing very well. And remember, I did crash over there in the trees and relaunched on the same run, so that may have been some of these dings and nicks. But you know what, this thing is really durable. A little bit of dirt here on the motors, just barely anything. I was trying to kind of go through there and I noticed that the gate was kind of shut, so I had to try to shoot through the gap there over the roof, and I just kind of hammered it, and so it hit the fence and the roof. And really, for doing it that hard, that's really no damage at all. So I'm not even going to put new propellers on, since I'm going to try that again. I'm just going to kind of bend these back and push out the notches and see if we can make that little gap again. So let's boot it back up and use up the remainder of this battery for some crazy durability testing. Alright, so launching again. Again, I didn't replace the propellers. Oh, it looks like there's actually somebody over there. So you know what? Let's just fly around these trees. I'm going to switch back into horizon mode. And let's just see what kind of close proximity tree flying and stuff we can do. Now I'm like pretty far away from you right now. I'm way over to the right, and you can see how clear. A little bit of break up there when I come behind the trees, but you can see kind of how far away from myself I am. And this thing's doing pretty good. Let's go through here, down. Whew. Easy, easy, easy. Whew. Don't want to hit any power lines and stuff, but I mean, look at this. So really easy to fly. Close proximity, even though this is a 250 millimeter quadcopter, it really does have excellent control in its RTF version. I'm just really lightly on the controls and not doing anything too wacko, but you know, I'm really enjoying this one. This would be a really good practicing quadcopter if you're getting into FPV and you don't want something that's going to be super fast. I think this one is really the one to get. And for the budget this one is, you know, and everything included like this, holy cow, this is just, I think, a really good one. Whoa! Oh, okay, so that was a pretty bad crash. Let me disarm there. So I really was hammering the throttle. I just hammered it all the way up to try to save it from that tree. So I was just like grinding up through the tree. So let's go ahead and turn this off and go ahead and reassess those damages. Let's see what that's all about. Okay guys, so holy smokes, that was fun. And we can see immediately some damage to the quad, but it doesn't look like it's that bad of damage actually. As you may have seen in the video, I've had the video up on the screen, and you could see I was kind of going through the tree, and then I hit a branch, and I tried to do a punch out, but it kind of drove me into the tree more, and I was actually just holding the throttle all the way up until it actually just finally hit the ground. And in doing so, here's what happened. So a motor flew off, but it looks to me like the motor actually just separated. The E-clip just came out of the bottom, so the motor actually seems fine. So I'm just going to actually fire this up again and see if it turns on, because when I was walking up to it, I was like, oh no, like a motor broke off or something and that motor's trash. But it's not. It doesn't look like it is. So let's go ahead and plug this thing in and just see if it actually still operates. And then in doing so, recovering this crash, I found the top cap here, so that's cool. I'll be able to just kind of glue this. I have a bunch of these antennas and better antennas, but this one seems to work fine, you know. So I'll probably just use this and glue it together. Yeah, so just snapping it together like that, and it's as good as new there. So let's go ahead and which motor was it? So it was the back right motor was where the E-clip came out. Nothing else is wrong. Antenna mount held up great. Run cam held up great. The propellers just got a little bit scuffed up. Camera lenses seem fine, just a little bit of grass in them. The legs didn't break. And that was a pretty hard crash. I mean, I never really do that and just hold it full throttle through a tree. So I'm really surprised at the durability of this one. So let's go ahead and fire this thing up and see if it actually still works after that crash. Okay. So powering on, let's go ahead and arm it. It seems fine, actually. All the motors are working. I don't want to give it too much throttle because I'm afraid that motor's going to fly off, or that propeller's going to fly off. Let's just go ahead and try to lift off a little bit. Yeah. So look at that. So it's fine. No problem. That crash was nothing for it. So this thing can handle some major abuse. You saw me kind of fly through the dugout there, nail a fence. I tried to full throttle up to recover, and I just drove it right into the fence and right into the roof of the dugout. We'll see kind of the footage of the run cam up there, the high definition, and also I'll have recorded from the Fat Sharks what the actual FPV I'm seeing was in the goggles. But as far as the pros and cons goes with this guy, is basically really impressed. I'd reviewed the other version of this, but I got that version, not an RTF like this. I got that version and almost ready to fly version where you have to have your own receiver and controller to bind up. And you know what? This is tuned better than I could have tuned it my own, because I'm still kind of learning how to tune, but really impressed with the tune they gave it. The three basically, you know, modes of flight: attitude, ratitude or horizon, and the acro were spot on. I mean, you could do super fast flips by just pushing the stick all the way. If you want to do slow flips, you know, just control your finger. And it was super responsive. You could see how nimble it was. It's not going to be the fastest quad for fast forward flight, because this camera will not tilt up seemingly that far. So you could either kind of retrofit your own tilt on this camera, you know, or just fly it as it is like I was. I would say for a beginner, man, this whole package right here, and this one actually came with that screen too, but I'd really recommend, if you're going to get into FPV racing, get like a pair of goggles like this. And I will have all the links to this stuff in the description. The goggles, this RTF version that I would highly recommend for a beginner, just to get into it at a low cost, and this run cam too, if you like what you saw on the screen on the footage of that thing. That'll also be in the link in the description, and you can check the current pricing on all this stuff and all the specs on it too. But I gotta say, guys, super impressed of this version here. Anyway, I do a lot of flights like this, reviews and flight tests and stuff, so go ahead and check out my channel. I think you like it. Oh, and if you're interested in stuff that I'm actually in the process of reviewing, I made a Facebook website where I'll have the link in the description, and I go and I throw up some pictures on stuff like sneak peeks highlights of what I have in review. So there's a bunch of stuff in there that's not on my YouTube channel that you should check out if you're kind of in anticipation of what's going to come up next. Go ahead and check the link down there. I'll have my new Facebook website up with all those kind of sneak peeks of pictures and descriptions and stuff of the stuff that's up and coming for review. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.